Picking a favorite game is hard, but it gets a bit easier when you divide into genres. Favorite horror game or RPG is a bit easier to answer, and it can get more so the further you go into subgenres. What I have today is actually what I would likely elect as being my favorite puzzle game. Introducing Catherine, released in 2011 by developers Atlus. While at first glance it may look like one of those fan service focused games, there is some real quality here on all fronts, and it's a cult classic for good reason. So let's take a look at a legitimate personal favorite as I show you why Catherine is definitely worth playing. The story of Catherine is actually a TV show or something being watched by some lady with a giant afro, an interesting framing device, but the real story is that of Vincent Brooks, a 32-year-old systems engineer who has it going pretty decently. He's got a small group of friends, and he's had a girlfriend for a few years, Catherine, spelled with a K. She's a little serious and controlling though, and it also seems like she wants Vincent to commit to her and get married already, and he's not really ready for that. But everything starts to go wrong one night when a blonde girl approaches him at a bar and an unintentional affair is had. This new girl, also named Catherine, but spelled with a C, is more free and fun, and just his type. So we have Vincent, a man who doesn't want to commit to his current girlfriend, getting caught up with this other girl who won't leave him alone. Or maybe he doesn't want her to. Catherine could be a game about Vincent trying to fix his mistake and be loyal to his current girlfriend, or it could be about him finding true love in this new girl and pursuing her instead. Maybe it's neither. The choice is yours. Compounding the issue, Vincent now finds himself having recurring nightmares each night where he has to climb a series of blocks, and if he falls and dies in the dream, he dies for real. Increasing the strangeness is how everyone else in the dream seems to be some humanoid sheep, although apparently so is Vincent. Everyone else looks like a sheep but you. Then there's a mysterious voice that talks to Vincent behind a confessional, asks him personality questions, and promises him freedom if he continues climbing to the top. He can't remember the dreams upon waking, but he can remember the terror, and it seems he's not the only one who's having them. Add in a cast of colorful side characters, and Catherine's got a wonderful story that really stands out from the typical gaming narrative. Catherine consists of two main components, more story-focused parts taking place in the local bar, the Stray Sheep, and the nightmare sections with the block climbing gameplay. In the bar you can talk to people, respond to text messages, and get a bit of story and lore. Then in the climbing sections you'll find yourself pushing and pulling blocks to form staircases to ascend, the blocks coming in various types, and have a quirk where they stay up as long as they're connected to a lower block by an edge. Each night also ends in a boss fight against some monster. You get a little bit of story, then a little bit of the puzzle game, and they each affect each other in certain ways. Drinking alcohol in the bar actually improves your speed while climbing, and talking to your fellow sheep may inspire them to survive and you can see them in the bar the next day. While all this is happening, the presentation from the graphics to the music is on point. Catherine was actually a smaller test game for its creators to practice developing for the PS3 and Xbox 360, so you could say the graphics and art were almost the focus of the project. While they certainly nailed it, as the anime style shaded look is very nice. Character designs are slightly stylized, but have a more grounded, mature feel to them. That being said, the art style still allows for some great exaggerated expressions, Vincent getting a lot of them. Then we go into the nightmare sections, where the designers get to have some real fun, each night having its own theme, ranging from gruesome to fantastical. I even get to compliment them on the game's box art, something I don't get to do often. As to parallel the dual nature of the game and Vincent having to choose between two girls, the box art between the PS3 and the Xbox versions show a different Catherine. Getting to the sound, the voice cast all do really good jobs, with a bunch of voices you'd be familiar with if you play other Atlus games.
I've known you since we were kids, but wow, you married, huh?
Hey, nothing's set in stone yet.
What, you don't want to marry your girlfriend?
It's not that. I love her, but I don't think we need to run out and get married. You know, it's like we're comfortable where we are.
Are you?
Yeah, that's what she said.
I'll also mention the sound design, including the satisfying edge sound effect you'll be hearing in the climbing sections. But the real highlight here is the soundtrack. It's easy enough to say a game's music is good, but here it really is. From the calm jazz of the Stray Sheep to the more grandiose climbing music, the tracks really stick in your head, in a good way. But in my opinion, the most addictive thing here is the gameplay. Catherine's unique block climbing is just so fun. You're given a mess of blocks, you can only climb one at a time, blocks are held up by connected edges. That's basically it, and the game gets a lot of mileage out of the core concept. They'll add in additional block types that crumble or have spike traps or ice physics, but there's decent depth and just optimal climbing technique. Instead of a solid staircase, you can make a hanging one that stays up due to edges. You can get tricky by hanging off of a block and moving around. You can intentionally push blocks off to make parts of the tower fall to benefit you. It's just so good when it all clicks. In the meantime, you can also grab consumable items that place an additional block, or kill any enemies around that can knock you down or just get in your way. There's also coins to collect for a high score, and it's a pretty good reason to get those gold trophies. The first is that it allows you to skip plenty through the climbing sections on subsequent playthroughs, useful if you want to see the game's other endings, a very thoughtful convenience. The second is that they unlock more of Babel, Catherine's endless climbing challenges, and where the game gets real. For a quick pro tip, pressing the undo button resets the combo gauge, so you can keep undoing your last move when you're about to lose it, and you can get high scores no problem. Then, of course, we have the boss battles at the end of each night, taking the form of one of Vincent's fears. These provide more of a challenge by having them actively attack you as you climb. It could be a lot of fun. In between each climbing level per night, you'll arrive at a landing source where you can talk with fellow sheep, learn new climbing techniques from them, and purchase an item if you feel you need one. Then, when you're ready to continue, walk into the confessional and answer a personality question. How you answer will affect Vincent's personality bar, which will affect your ending, but also change Vincent's dialogue and reactions in cutscenes. Afterwards, you can even see how other people answered, and I find it fun to see which questions are split 50-50 and which have a clear majority answer. But let's not gloss over the gameplay of the bar sections. They're mostly there to deliver story, but they have some purpose. As mentioned before, you can drink alcohol to improve your climbing speed, and when you finish each drink, you get some fun trivia about it. You can talk to the various people in the bar, which may inspire them to change their lives for the better. You can respond to the two Catherines over text with a variety of messages that affect Vincent's personality, as well as receive special pictures you can view in the bathroom. There's also Rapunzel, a mysterious arcade game that mimics the block climbing gameplay, but with a focus on smaller puzzle sections with intended solutions. These can be a fun change of pace and a challenge to figure out. Now, if this all sounds good and are thinking about picking up this game if you haven't already, there's one more key thing you need to know, and that's that Catherine has an updated release. Catherine Full Body was released in 2019. It is currently available on PlayStation and Nintendo consoles, but not the Xbox or PC. Full Body is mostly the same game, but adds in another love interest, Rin, another stage or two, some cutscenes expanding on Catherine with a K, some more bar goers, and replaces the whiskey at the bar with wine, a major loss. It also added an online battle mode. Catherine apparently had a small but dedicated competitive scene, and this really allowed it to take off. Let this be testament to how much people like this gameplay. I think I would say Full Body is the definitive version, with the added scenes helping with certain characters, and with the added endings for the existing Catherines actually being my personal favorite, but I wouldn't say it invalidates the original release such that it's not worth getting. Full Body is a bonus if you can play it, but the original Catherine's still a perfectly good game. As mentioned at the start of this video, Catherine is a very solid contender for being my favorite puzzle game of all time. From its incredible presentation, to its enduring characters, to its addictive gameplay, it's just a great game all around. I think it also gives a good example of a mature game that isn't just mature because it's crass or violent. It gives you adult characters and themes, it treats you like one too. Or at least more so than other games tend to. So if you want a great puzzle game, a fun exploration of love and relationships, or just a game with a lot of style and charm, go play Catherine. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you liked it for some weird reason, consider leaving a like or comment. If you didn't like it, well, leave a comment anyways about what I did wrong. If you want to hear about more games I think are neat, or whatever random thing I end up making videos on, maybe also think about subscribing. Whatever you choose to do, I hope you have a nice day.